And so obviously everyone knows that Luigi has raised a lot of money for his defense fund, but Brianna Boston, the poor mom of three, she lives in Florida where healthcare is just like, 85% more evil. Thanks, Rick Scott. And she was on the phone getting, coverage for probably one of her three kids, denied. And she said, you guys are going to be next. Like, this is karma. It's going to come for you. Really big threats, the type of stuff that anybody says. A woman named Miss Lebedyeva, I don't know who she was, but a kind stranger set up a legal defense fund for her on GoFundMe. 2,400 people have donated to poor Brianna Boston's legal defense fund. And I think that, again, like, this is just some random woman who definitely didn't want to be Googled for this fact. But the fact is that, like, everybody has been there. Everybody has been there. This is like one of the most gruesomely unpopular things. And invariably, every time this topic comes up, we are told that like 60% of Americans are really happy with their health insurance. But it's just like, they're happy that they feel grateful that they have it to begin with and that they haven't had to use it. That's my theory.
Right. Yeah. And plus, I'm very curious about how they're asked that question, because as people know, polling, and it's presented as if these are totally quantifiable things, but the results are very different depending on how you're asked a question.
Right. Yeah. I just think healthcare is so full of crooks, and and at this point, the doctors have been really, United Healthcare is one of those companies that's really radicalized a lot of the doctors, and they're ready. A lot of them are unionizing. They never thought they'd be union.
Well, Mo, not everyone agrees with you. We have to be fair and balanced. So let's listen to what Michael Smerkonish had to say of CNN, because he has some feelings about Luigi Mangione and this issue.
Slowed my gait as I passed a side entrance to the Hilton Hotel, realizing that this was the same day, in the same early morning hour, in the precise location where 1 week prior, a 50-year-old father of two was assassinated. But something was missing. Any sign whatsoever of the tragedy that occurred right here and which has captivated the nation. We've all seen the crime scene that's been shown many times in the media. There it is. But a week later, here's what was left. A lone piece of NYPD crime tape affixed to a barrier. No memorial of the kind that often appears spontaneously after a similar tragedy. Like when John Lennon was murdered in New York City in 1980. Or when 32-year-old Heather Heyer was run down in Charlottesville, Virginia. George Floyd's murder in Minneapolis. The spot in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber were shot and killed by Kyle Rittenhouse. Crowds grieve the loss of Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer who was fatally shot on the set of the film Rust.
So, yeah.
Wow.
I think Michael should start it. He should build it himself. Yeah. That's, I really can't believe that he actually said that, and that didn't get cut. What a brave.
That was like a full monologue.
Yeah.
I had heard that, like, somebody on CNN had said something like that. Right. I don't even know how to respond.
Yeah. Well, with an Emmy nomination, obviously.
I know, it's really. I mean, and is this bringing in the ratings? Oh my God!
I know, it's insane.
Michael Smerkonish,
the worst. And there's another, you actually tweeted out this trend that I want to ask you about in op-eds about Luigi Mangione. There's a take that we're not supposed to have empathy for Luigi Mangione because he's a white man who comes from privilege. So here is, you point out Click and you will find 2 additional op-eds with this identical take. Guess they simply don't realize that patients of color are far likelier than whites to get denied life-saving care by UHC thanks to far deeper Medicare Advantage penetration in minority communities. So let's take a look. So the first one is the cold-blooded United Healthcare CEO killer getting this much love because he's a white man? Why the anti-DEI United Healthcare alleged shooter isn't the woke icon you thought he was?
One that was like, he's not the thirst trap.
Yeah, Luigi Mangione isn't the brilliant thirst trap y'all made him out to be.
So
And that was at the
actually,
root.
so upon reading, that's not actually the identical take, because that isn't mad at him for being white. It's mad at him for getting caught. So I should say that only 2 of them are like, oh, white privilege. And then the other take about he's not the brilliant thirst trap is just like, he wasn't a good enough criminal, which
okay, got it.
I don't know. I thought that like he did a pretty good job, and I think that like he really assumed that he was going to get caught a lot quicker than he did. I just think like, that's why he was carrying the murder weapon and because he just kind of, I think that he pretty much knew he was going away. But that's, again, I don't know, because I still don't even know if it really was him.
Right.
The whole thing is still just a little strange. I'm willing to kind of like, I believe it was him, but the whole story is also a little bit too. There's a lot of aspects to it that like don't check out, and there are a lot of people that could have a motive to kill him. But I do think that he spent a lot of time in Japan, and he seems to have been a very like curious person. He wasn't like very ideologically coherent all the time, but he was a 26-year-old boy. He was a 26-year-old engineer. So he, I think he had like a kind of inquisitive mind, and it seems like he was probably inspired by the guy who killed Shinzo Abe with his like DIY gun. I mean, the former prime minister of Japan was killed by an assassin who was mad at Shinzo Abe for propping up the Moonies, a CIA
backed, kind of not a great thing to do,
marriage cult that did a lot of Ponzi schemes, especially in Japan. And, and Shinzo Abe, was a big backer. So was Reagan. So I'm still like, I still kind of want this to make a little bit more sense in my mind. But in general, it seems like he was mad at the healthcare system. He withdrew from his like social circle. There's still so many answered questions. We have, he's really like nice to look at. So we spent a lot of time like looking at pictures of him and learning about like whether, his bisexuality and stuff like that. But regarding Thompson not having a memorial to himself, it's just, I'm still like, so that is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Well, if there's one silver lining, it's that we get to spread the word on that. Now, maybe people are donating to Breonna. Maybe people donate to a Thompson monument.